What's going on, folks? It's Tuesday night. Time to talk some football. You guys know me, of course. I'm the loudmouth of the South, SAJ, and I'm coming to you live from Puffin Billy's Hamburgers on Walls and Road Studios.
Ooh, what's up, everybody? I'm BD, and dude, I completely forgot to come up with another one again this week.
Well, there was the
Oh,
competitor rallies over on Rittiman.
this is true.
Yeah.
Shoot, man, I had one. How about we introduce our guests? I'll think
Yeah,
of
let's
one
let's
between
talk
then.
about the important people that are here because they've got some really busy stuff going on. Obviously, this is the Predator couple. We've had them on before. We've had them on Horns Forward as well. But you guys know them, you love them, and now you're stuck with them for another season. Guys, I'm so happy. I don't want to keep you too long. I know you've got some personal business going on and everything, and we definitely excited about that for you guys. But what I definitely wanted to have you on for tonight was to talk about your reaction. How excited are you guys that the Houston Roughnecks, even if it is, a rebrand that some people are complaining about and whatever, how excited are you that the Houston Roughnecks legacy lives on?
Oh, I'm ecstatic. I mean, I was over the moon. I was happy that our voices were heard. Our petition was seen and noticed. I'm glad that Rice stuck to their guns and took the gamble with the Roughnecks. You get what I'm doing there, right?
I see what you're doing there.
I mean, I'm happy that it happened this way. And who knows, maybe, the Gamblers will end up in another city as far as that brand and that kind of team goes. It doesn't matter who wears the uniform. UFL is spring football. It's that farm league with these people trying to do their best to get into the next level. And so they're gonna come and go. But the brand, the team is always gonna be here.
Yes, 100%. I'm super excited, just like you guys said, right? The Gamblers name probably wasn't necessarily the best fit for Houston, and I get it.
Yeah,
There's a lot of history there with that name, the whole, link to Kenny Rogers and how popular that was back in the 70s and everything. But I mean, let's be honest. I'm the oldest cat here. I barely remember any of that stuff. There's no way you guys are going to, and there's no way you're going to have a connection to any of that. So,
I think I was two the last time the Gamblers played a home game in Houston.
yeah.
I mean,
Um,
I have a Jim Kelly gambler jersey, but that was something given to me by my father when I was younger, and I couldn't tell you who the hell they were. So
yeah. So again, kind of a stretch to say that it was a connection with the fan base and again, not trying to take a shot at the Gamblers fans or trying to rile up anybody or anything. I get why a lot of fans around the league right now are upset, right? Losing a team is kind of a horrible thing.
yeah,
However, what I would like to encourage, and I'm sure Predator couple and all the Houston fans would like to encourage at this point, would be to kind of offer that olive branch of peace and say, hey, look, we get that you lost your team, right?
yeah.
You guys lost your coach. The Roughnecks lost their coach. They lost the whole coaching staff and
Yep.
3/4 of the players.
And we
Yeah.
also see a lot of that is well, Wade is Houston football, yeah, but I mean, coach is going to come and go, players going to come and go, Roughnecks name's going to live on forever now. Hopefully, he's planning this league
I
survives.
mean, look at it the same way as the NFL with the Titans. Come on, guys. The Tennessee Oilers are never going to last. I mean, just this past season with their throwback jerseys, they got the butt whipping they deserve for trying to spot on us Texans for that crap.
Mm-hmm.
Roughnecks is associated with Texas. Texas is oil and cattle.
Mm-hmm.
So come on.
Well,
And
and it's
we have had a couple. Well, now that the gambler's gone, what do I do? And we've reached out to them. It's like, hey, come join us at Roughneckers Tailgate.
Yep.
Shoot us a message. Come out. We got you. We're all about the spring league. Come join us.
More importantly, we're reaching out to Gamblers fans saying, hey, we've got an event going on the 8th. Love for you guys to come see it, meet us in person, check it out, feel the vibe. And if you're happy with it, our tailgate. I mean, the more the merrier. We're all about making it one big happy family. We don't have people from the Gamblers on our tailgate just yet, but we've got people from other teams within the XFL. So, right, it's that Texas hospitality that we love to kind of be proud of and showcase, and hopefully our Gamblers counterparts will take part and enjoy it too.
Yep.
Oh yeah, and that's kind of what's important now is just the team, and really not just Houston, but I mean all the fans of all the teams just coming together because we're all a part of the UFL now. You
Yeah.
know, so all the petty bickering and all that other bull crap on who's better, what the better league was, and all that stuff. It's over now. We're
It's
all
Yeah.
one league,
it's
so
just like the Gamblers history. It's done. It's
yeah,
in the past. Let's move forward. Let's be better and show these teams and these players that you don't have to be in the NFL to make it big in football. But we
yeah,
hope you get there.
exactly.
Yep. Well, and I think it's important that we cue in on something that you guys said, right? The past is in the past now, but not. I don't necessarily want to focus on that so much because I don't want our fans who have lost a team to kind of feel excluded. Now is a perfect time for us to come together as a fan base. If you lost your team, we get that. And it stinks and I'm sorry. But you can still support the league. You can still watch, you can still, buy in on that part. And if we can make this successful and actually turn a profit that the owners are looking for, then maybe we can start talking about expansions. And
Yep.
so maybe Vegas can get a team back.
We'd love to have Viper fans at our tailgate. I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to the Green Man from Orlando coming into our
Mhm.
tailgate. I can't wait to see our Sea counterparts come into the tailgate.
Yeah.
Let's go. I want to see you guys out there. Say, hey guys, we're still here and we matter too. Come bring it back to our city next year.
Mhm. The more fans that show up from the teams that were cut, the more interest the league is going to be in coming back out to them. Maybe even Minnesota could get a team that'll win.
Hey,
Shots taken.
we'll
I mean, everybody out there that's listening and watching, take it from us. If you push and make noise, they'll hear you. We were heard. We made noise. We pushed it constantly, all the time, on every post, every feed. It was the petition. Hey, we want our Roughnecks. There's no point in having the gamblers. There, just everything. Make that noise. They'll listen.
and we've had the naysayers go, oh, you got barely 10% of y'all's attendance signing that petition, so they didn't care that much. Well, that 10% cared enough, and that 10% was loud enough. So that, along with other executive decisions and business decisions, it was the smart choice.
Yep.
Yep.
So as you can see here, Bobby commented that they never had a USFL team in their market, so they're going to support the team, or I'm sorry, the new league regardless. That's kind of what we're talking about. That's what we're looking for, right?
Awesome.
Um, right here, Big Daddy Ed. He let me take that one shot, and Ed, I appreciate you letting me do that because, truth be told, chances are we're probably going to lose to Chicago on Sunday, and even worse yet, we're going to win on Sunday, and then we're winding up facing Dallas and get completely embarrassed. Okay,
Mhm.
which is what we deserve because this season's been bad. Mike G said 0% of the fans signed the Gamblers petition. Uh, Captain here said the Gamblers never played in Houston, so there's also that, right? So there's all these things that have proven that the league picked the right fan base,
Yeah.
Yeah.
right?
You come
And
with points. What can they argue?
yeah, well, and okay, so the 10%, you guys got barely 10% of your fan base, right? You got 10% of your fan base to sign the petition to keep the league in the city, right?
Yeah.
Or I'm
Yeah.
sorry, to keep the Roughnecks in Houston.
You got not just 10% of your fan base. You got 10% of your fan base during the off season. 7 months away from when you last played football.
Yeah.
I mean, XFL is has been out of most people's thoughts for a long time. At least the casual fans. So
Yeah.
you got that 1,000 people is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, during the height of the NFL season,
Yeah.
and when everybody's focused on playoffs and who's going to do what, like our Houston Texans when we win this Sunday and make the play from 3 wins last season.
CJ Stroud, baby.
Rookie of the
Yeah,
year.
Yep.
it was just a bummer losing Tank Dell because I was at that game and when we saw it, that was nasty looking.
Yeah. Well, and of course, we're Texans talking football. So even though, Brian is a big Cowboys fan, I, of course, you can tell I'm a Green Bay Packers fan, right? We're still going to be pulling for the Texans, especially now, like when things are really starting to fall in place, because that city has suffered for so long with, the NFL controversy, the Tennessee Titans and all that, and just not having all of the pieces together to have a super competitive team. Now things are starting to fall in place for you guys. So I personally, I'm a little happy for you guys. So
Appreciate it.
enjoy it. But
Well,
okay.
Step off because we got a little one being born tonight.
our grandson.
Well,
Okay.
we're happy for you guys. Congratulations.
Okay. Well, we're gonna let you guys go and we're gonna bring on Rig Rocker. So you guys take care. Congratulations. Good luck. Praying for mom and baby.
Go Roughnecks!
Mr. Rig Rocker.
What is up, man?
Hang on, I gotta unmute him. Because I muted him and why is he not muting? Hang on. Technical difficulties. Please stand by. I'm gonna kick them. Okay, and then I'm gonna click on you, and I'm gonna ask you. Now you're on.
Now you're on.
A little bit,
but you got a little bit of feedback.
All right. How y'all doing tonight?
Doing good, man.
Doing good.
Sorry, voice is kind of gone. I'm fighting the flu. I was up there in Dallas Friday and kind of caught the flu bug while I was up there, but I had to jump on here for this. It's pretty exciting. Keeping the Roughnecks.
How excited?
How excited are you?
And keep it quick.
Keep it quick.
I want you
I want you sick for next year.
Oh, I'm excited. I can't wait till the season starts to be able to get in there and really just show these guys what they got for a fan base. All of us super fans and just the fans in general. For the Roughnecks, the new Roughnecks, it's going to be exciting for them to see the support they have from us as the fans. And, we're going to come out in full force and give it all we can. So it's exciting. I can't wait to do it. I know Predator Couple's excited. Me, of course, and then all the help we've had from Brahma Babe and SAJ and all the other ones, just trying to get that voice being heard out there is pretty awesome from everybody. Just the love and support from all around the whole spring league, So it's been great, and I can't wait to just keep it rolling. So it's been very well appreciated, and just having that family feeling with everybody, working together to make sure that we keep the Roughnecks. So,
Yep.
Pretty excited about it.
Yes.
Yeah,
We're excited that you guys are keeping. So I won't keep too long because I know you're feeling a little under the weather. But anything else you want to add before we let you go and then bring in the illustrious Brahma Babe?
January 13th, come to Houston. Help us out. Help us support the Houston Area Women's Center. Having a great event going on for them. Sidelining domestic violence. Come out, hang out with us.
Excellent.
Going on. Just have a good time.
Yes. All right.
Can't wait to get the season started.
I'll even give you one. Okay. Rest up. Take care, big man.
See you, Rig Rocker.
See ya.
Brahma Babe.
Hi guys.
How are
Brahma
you?
Babe.
I'm doing well. I'm a little under the weather as far as allergies go. It's the cedar. It's the cedar here that's driving me crazy. I'm all stuffy and fluffy and bleh.
It's just crap. I'm getting over it myself. I was sick all weekend, and my wife's sick right now, so it's just.
Oh,
Not
oh,
not to take away, but these are important comments. I don't want these missed. Okay.
oh, that is
So
that's a true comment. That yeah,
yeah.
those guys. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I was teary eyed sitting in the green room listening to Rig because y'all. I mean, I don't know if you know BD, but when I we saw the official word. I mean, I was crying like a little baby, and it's not even my team.
No, I was happy for him. I know, we kind of heard that it was a chance, was speculation that it was going to go that way, but once you hear the official announcement, like, okay, yeah, it happened, and I was so happy for him because I know how much hard work they put into that and
Yeah.
stuff. So, it just I'm was real happy.
Yeah. Well, good. And are we going to see you on the 13th?
I will be there. Yes,
Yay.
You can't
Ooh.
have Texans talking football with only one Texan.
that's
Well,
right.
that's what I figured, but I had to ask, just kind of
So
curious.
check this out. Matt Rice, no orphans this season.
No
Rig
offense.
Rig has a home.
Yep.
Yeah. Hi, Matt. Yeah. So I appreciate you guys having me on tonight. I definitely am excited to be here with Texas Talking Football. I know you guys have a lot on your agenda. There's a lot going on.
That's okay.
There is, but it's all right.
Well,
Well,
you're family, so we've got to make
Yeah,
time for
yeah.
you.
aw, that makes my little blingy heart happy. You know me and my bling. I love it.
Speaking of bling, why don't
Mhm.
you tell us more about this event where you're going to be displaying much of your bling at?
Absolutely. I'm so glad you worked into that. No, on a serious note, no. On January 13th, myself, along with SAJ, and you heard it here, BD is going to be there as well, with the U Fan Legion, formerly known as the X Fan Legion. We're going to be supporting Rig Rocker and the Predator couple and the Roughnecks in a benefit supporting the Houston Area Women's Center. If you don't know much about them, you guys, it's a wonderful organization. Of course, they are based out of Houston, and they provide advocacy and resources for victims of domestic violence, survivors of domestic violence, human trafficking, and other undesirable interpersonal violence. It is the best way to put it. It's not a subject we really like to, talk about. Some people shy away from it, but it's the reality. We've seen a rise in domestic violence cases and interpersonal violence since COVID, when people were locked in so much longer. People were at their wits' end. So, statistically, out there are statistics showing that there is a rise in these types of cases. With HAWC. They provide these resources, and it's just a wonderful organization that it provides a service necessary. So we are going to be gathering at the R&R Bar and Grill in Houston on the 13th, as I said, from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. There's going to be drink specials and food specials. We're going to have a 50-50 raffle. We're going to have some really amazing silent auction items. And the wonderful thing about this is every proceed that we raise and all the monetary donations that we take in are going 100% to Hawk. Don't worry, you guys, if you're like, oh my gosh, I'm in Kalamazoo, Michigan, but I really, really want to help, or you're just not able to make it to Houston. That's okay. We got you covered. On all of our pages, and I know Texas Talking Football, they have it up on their page. There's the event page. You just scan that little QR code up there, and it's going to allow you to make a monetary donation to Hawk. And like I said, any little bit helps. And if you're not able to donate at this time, please, if you can, share the information. And if you know people in Houston, let them know that we're doing this. It's going to be a fun time. You're going to be able to take some pictures with us crazy people. We're going to gab about everything that's going on. So it's not only a great time to get together and maybe meet new fans and mingle amongst ourselves, but you're also contributing back to the community. And that's one thing, we all kind of preach that family, family, family. But it really is, you guys, because we're able to do this and be able to put together something to help others that maybe somebody learns about the UFL or the Roughnecks or the Brahmas or whoever. Maybe they don't. Maybe they come out just to support the effort. So I encourage everyone to please think about it and come on out. And if not, definitely scan that QR code and make a monetary donation because it will be surely appreciated.
So it's funny that you mention about family, right? Because now we're bringing in another member of the family, Brett Tiers, aka Bert, who is our USFL guy, right? Even though he is an XFL guy, right? I guess we're all just UFL people now.
Right.
And but he has the connections on the USFL side of the league for Birmingham, Memphis, and Michigan. And I guess we'll have to work in some for Houston now, being that they're going to be over there. But we're all family now, right? So I think this is a perfect opportunity for us as Texans to reach out to our neighbors across the aisle and extend that olive branch. Because I know there was a little bit of fighting in between the XFL fan base and the USFL fan base.
A little bit, yeah.
And Pat McAfee 100% tried to take a shot that Dwayne Johnson did not bite on at all. Props to him for that, right?
Yep.
But we don't want to do that, right? We want to come together as a fan base, right? Leave the trash talking to Brian and I. Let's put that on the side for right now. Let's reach out to our friends across the way. Let's introduce ourselves. Let's invite them into the new United Football League, and let's all be friends, right? And then when the season starts, then we're going to mad trash talk each other.
There you go.
So Brett, meet Brahma Babe. I'm sure you've seen her around. You maybe even talked to her a couple of times. Brahma Babe, meet Brett, aka Bert. Okay.
AKA a lot. Hey, by the way, guys, check it out.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh, let's go.
See, y'all think you spring football. Bert is spring football.
Bert is spring football.
XFL, USFL. Man, I'm glad and excited we finally got some news. Very, very. Oh man, that's where it started. Yeah, the AAF I talked to you about the other night, man. That's when I started my group.
You were the reason why I'm wearing this hat.
That's awesome, dude. I thought about wearing my Birmingham Iron hat, and I'm like, I'll throw them some Texas swag out there tonight.
Well, we respect it either way, man. We love the people that have the roots that go way deep, like us, right? And like, well, can I let the cat out of the bag, Brahma Babe?
Sure.
kind of your connection with the AFL and the Jacksonville Sharks, and so Brahma Babe. At one time in her illustrious career, probably I think it was last year, maybe the year before, was a professional cheerleader for the Jacksonville Sharks.
No, Tomcats.
Oh, I'm sorry, Tomcats.
A little bit further back.
Okay. Okay, 3 years ago. Whatever.
Oh, you're being kind. Thank you.
The point is, we have a huge smattering here, right? Everybody's kind of representing everything. It's pretty much in the South. But everybody's got connections to football that go way back, right? And that's something that we can all build on together as a fan base, right? Brian and I, our roots go all the way back to, the San Antonio Talons, and even before that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Brian and I personally were hanging out watching Talons games, and then we went and, we saw the Commanders and the Gunslingers, and now the Brahmas and the Gunslingers again. But we had the Gunslingers back in the 1970s, and you guys know all the stories about literally how it was a cannonball run for everybody to try and get to the bank to cash their check because only the first 10 were going to clear, right? Like, these are real things that happen, and this is part of that whole alternative football that needs to be talked about and needs to be celebrated, man. These are good stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I take it back. I used to go as a kid with my family to the Bulls games in Jacksonville, the USFL Bulls. I mean, at the old Gator Bowl. And, I don't know if you guys know a lot about Jacksonville's history on trying to get even an NFL team. But it was years. I mean, we were promised so many different teams. We were told this team was going to come there. And what's unique about Jacksonville, too, and that's why it's kind of interesting to hear the different markets and how they're like, well, we have this team and that team. I think it was on another podcast the other night, and I mentioned in Jacksonville, our setup is downtown. So you have the Veterans Memorial Coliseum, which is where the Sharks play. When I cheered it was the Tomcats. Right across the street is our minor league baseball team, which used to be the Jacksonville Suns, but they're the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimps. Don't even get me on that one. It's better than the baby cakes out in New Orleans, but sorry, New Orleans. But that's right across the street from the Coliseum. And then right behind it is the bank where the Jags play. And then over to the side is the fairgrounds. So during that spring league, when the arena football's going on, or I know it's a different league now, but when the Sharks are playing, the Jumbo Shrimps are potentially playing. So it's literally right across the street. So it took a while for the Sharks to get on board, especially after the AFL and AFL2 kind of folded. And then the Sharks came in. It took a while for people to catch on to that. But now, I know the guys at the Gunslingers, I think Phil went to one of the games and he was like, wow, this is such a different vibe. And they do it big there. And so it's really interesting to kind of see that and hear some of the different markets talk about, well, we have only this or we have this. It can be done. It just takes time. Sorry, got rampage there.
Perfectly fine. So one of the things that you were saying was that it takes kind of time for things to connect with the fan base there and start growing. Brett, from the USFL side, right? Things are finally starting to kind of catch in those home markets. What can we as XFL fans or just fans of Spring Football League do to help support these marketplaces, to help get the word out there and start growing those fan bases?
Well, I mean, ultimately, I think they've got to play football in their home cities, which thankfully, Michigan started that last year at Ford Field, and Showboat started that at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, and I really feel like that they've gotten solid fan bases on social media, and they have grown. Again, I feel like a lot of the XFL strengths were the USFL weaknesses and vice versa. That's why I feel like this merger is such a great thing. And I feel like I'm glad they went ahead and pulled the trigger now and didn't wait an extra year. Because I feel like they were hurting each other with ratings and why, I think it was kind of inevitable that this was going to happen. Uh, and I think the XFL, they kind of showed how important fan engagement is. Birmingham year one, we had every team, every game at Protective Stadium. Then in year two, we finally branched out and got some teams and some home markets. Still nothing on the level of the XFL, and you can see that with the XFL following on all the social media platforms: Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. And I know most Birmingham Stallions fans. I've got the largest Stallions group, original group on Facebook, and most of them, most of my admin don't even talk to me. They don't like me. I'm very honest whether they like it or not. I'm not going to be clouded by me being a Stallions fan and wear those glasses. I'm just not that guy. Uh, there was pros and cons of both leagues, and again, I'm very excited. Looking forward to the future.
Excellent.
I really think that we could be talking about this league for a long, long time.
I do. I think so too. But it comes down to like we said earlier. Us as fans have to support the league. Even if your team didn't make it this round or didn't make this cut, don't get pissed off and don't just stop watching. Hey, support it, watch it, because your team might come back
Right.
if this league succeeds.
Yeah, it's going
Oh,
to get those. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
oh no. We've had such petty spring football wars in my group. From when I started it with the AAF, and it's been XFL versus USFL at each other's throat for a couple of years now, and I'm like, thank God that now this is over with. Can we please stop with the silly, petty 12-year-old wrestling? And don't get me wrong, I'm not hating on wrestling. I grew up a wrestling fan just like everybody else, but just want to tell them, look, let's grow up. This isn't some male soap opera. This is real. So let's play nice, and now we're all on the same page. Let's move forward.
Yep.
Enough of, well, my team's better than your team. Oh, my league's so much better than yours. If I've seen that once, I've seen it 10 million times, and I am so tired of it.
Well, Brett, I'm gonna confess something to you. We have not shed good light on the USFL on this show. Okay. Because we fell into that also. We still watched, right? Because the gamblers were in, and we wanted to make sure that we were representing Texas across the board.
Well,
A lot of people was guilty
I
of it.
feel like we were critiquing it properly. We weren't just dumping on
Fairly,
it because it
but
wasn't XFL. Like,
right.
there was stuff that I didn't like about it. And so, kind of like what you said, hey,
Oh
it's
yeah.
that's what I'm gonna do. If I
Right.
don't like something, I'm gonna tell you. There was
But
stuff I said about the XFL I didn't like.
but now I'm gonna ask the tough question, right? Are you guys ready? Which rules do we go by? Starting with you, Brahma Bay, because ladies first, obviously.
Oh, well, thank you, gentlemen. I may catch grief for this, but because I'm a fan of so many different facets of football, spring leagues and such, and an
Mhm.
NFL fan, I like the XFL rules. I like the changes. I think some of them are positive for the safety of the players. Um, I like the change. It gives me separation, just like with arena ball. You have a 50-yard field, the nets bounce off. So for me personally, I like the XFL. It's nothing against the USFL. I just like the difference. I think it adds a different flair to the game, and that's just me.
Brett, you're up.
Well, I feel like most people lose sight of the fact that the USFL and XFL rules are so similar. I'm a big fan of special teams. I'm an Alabama fan. I'm a Chicago Bears fan. So the special teams is very big to me. Punt returns, kick returns, field goals, extra points. You've got to have an extra point for 1 point, period. It's too gimmicky without it. Go for two, fine with that. Go for three, fine with that. I like the 4th and 12, alternate the onside kick, just like both leagues do. I am very, very. I'm fine with all the XFL rules except for you got to have an extra point, and I do not like the gimmicky kickoff. The USFL kickoff, you kick it from the 20, you got 92% return rate. It is exciting. It is. I can live with the XFL kickoff because there's always returns. But look at like Devontae Turpin and Aubrey from the Birmingham Stallions and from New Jersey Generals. They're both now starting, for the Dallas Cowboys, thanks to the special teams from the USFL. So even though I'm a USFL guy, I'm totally fine with all the XFL rules, except for you got to have an extra point and you got to have a normal kickoff. I don't care if they kick it from the 5 at a 92% return rate. It is exciting to watch. That's some of the most exciting part of football, guys, is punt and kick returns. And the NFL has absolutely, with their rules, they have destroyed professional football, in my opinion. And by the way, since I'm so opinionated, why don't they just go ahead and put flags on damn quarterbacks in NFL and be done with it? All right,
Let's
that's it.
go.
I'm done.
BD.
All right. So, it took me a while to get to like the XFL kickoff, but I kind of like what Brahma Bay says. I like it because it's different. It is kind of it took a while to get like some kind of steam with it and stuff, but kind of once that the receiver kind of breaks that first that row of people, like it can get exciting. We saw a kick return from, I think, the Brahmas. We had the first one.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be I'd be okay if they went with the old school style kickoff, but I'd also be cool if they left the XFL version. Um, Obviously, I like the 4th and 15. I love the XFL's overtime. And does the USFL, do they have the same style kind of shootout for overtime? I thought
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So obviously I want them to keep that. I want them to keep the 4th and 15. Um, the one rule that I really did not like that the XFL had that the USFL has is XFL was 1 foot in bounds for a catch. USFL was 2. I think you need to have 2 foot down for a catch. So, get rid of the 1 foot. This ain't college. So,
See, and I'm a USFL guy. I like the 1 foot, but
and then
I get it though. It's the professional receivers trying to make it to the NFL,
yeah,
so
and
2 feet makes sense.
I'd be willing to compromise with get kick for 1 extra point and then go for a 2 or 3 point conversion. So how about you, Jay?
I'm a little bit in the middle with all of this. Okay. I love the entertainment value that the XFL rules provide, right? It gives a team like St. Louis an opportunity to be down and turn it around in 2 minutes and wind up winning. Okay. It was a phenomenal game to watch as a football fan, to see St. Louis fans walking out the door because they thought the game was over. And before they made it to the parking lot, their team had taken the lead. I mean, it's ridiculous. However, from a business standpoint, right? Here's where SAJ is going to be a little bit controversial. If this is in fact going to be like a developmental league without it actually having that moniker per se, you would want to train those players in the rules of the business that they're going to be going into, right? So it makes more sense to follow the USFL rules because they're more like the NFL. Now, that's not to say that the NFL rules are perfect or that it's necessarily that entertaining or enjoyable or whatever. But the way it stands right now, if you're training players to make that step into the NFL, you should train them in those rules. So 2 feet in, things like that. The shootouts at in overtime, a little bit different. NFL doesn't do things like that. But and ironically enough, there was talk last year about the NFL looking at some of the XFL rules, such as the kickoff, such as the overtime rules. These should be good indicators that maybe the NFL's archaic system does need to be changed. But until that gets changed, maybe we need to be looking at how we're training our players to go into the NFL and making sure that they're fully prepared, right? So a receiver, for example, they're going to get used to 1 foot in the XFL rules, and they're going to go to the NFL, they're going to do 1 foot in, and the referees are going to call them out of bounds. And then they're going to be upset. Why? Because that was a catch. And oh, that's right, different rules. Kind of like, we talk about, indoor football here, IFL specifically. Those players making the transition from that 50-yard field and much different rules there, transitioning into actual more realistic NFL style football, right? They've got a learning curve. So let's maybe cut that learning curve down a little bit and try and find some of those USFL rules that we like that are good, like what the NFL has. Then maybe try and encourage the NFL to adopt some of these other like 4th and 12 or 4th and 15 type things and start kind of modifying the game to make it more enjoyable and more entertaining for the fans.
Well, and I would like, as the UFL kind of grows and becomes, its own thing and become, kind of stands on its own kind of deal. Maybe the NFL will test some rules in the UFL, kind of like they were using the XFL. It seemed like a little bit to see how some of the rules were and stuff. They can do that same thing for the UFL.
That's what I was thinking too, Brian. And even, using that as the guinea pig to see, does this cut back on this? Does this allow this?
Yeah.
And the other thing too, I mean, Jay, I get your point, but even say, okay, and maybe it's just because it's the foot in and the 2 foot, but these guys transition from college where they're used to keeping that 1 foot in and it's not 2 feet. So they have to transition and they're going into the NFL. They've got to condition their bodies to change that. I can't remember because I never played Pop Warner, I only cheered for it, but I don't remember in Pop Warner if it's 1 foot or 2 foot. And I don't know how that changes to junior high, or I guess they don't call it that anymore, middle school, high school, college. I don't know, but I would think too, there's a certain learning curve as well because they do transition into that next level. Now that doesn't cover everybody in the UFL, and I get that because there's so many different, backgrounds, but yeah, I mean, and I've thought that way, as BD said. Are they using this kind of as like a guinea pig system to see how does this work? How do we as fans feel about it? Not that
And really, I mean, you use the data. XFL was saying the kickoff was kind of player safety.
Mm-hmm.
were there less injuries on kickoffs for the XFL style versus the UFL style or the USFL style or the NFL style?
Yeah.
Take the actual data that you get from these games and make a conscious decision based on that.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Right, go with what the data says. And if we truly are worried about player safety, I mean, we've got these third generation helmets and different pads and all this different stuff, right? If we're truly going to be worried about player safety, then let's start taking some of that data and compiling it and see what the numbers say. And if it's time for a change, it's time for a change.
Well, just making a knee-jerk emotional decision, just go off of, the data and see what it's doing. Look at the numbers. Look at I was going to say fatalities. That's not the word I want to use.
Oh, God, no.
The injuries and things like that. But yeah, look at that and see, because you don't want to water it down. Like Brett said, you don't want to water it down too much and make it to where it's football. It is a physical game.
Exactly.
I mean, it is. So there's that aspect, and that's why a lot of us freaking like it. I mean, that's why I go to a hockey game and sit next to the glass so I can bring it, So there is that aspect. But, as the time changes, as we progress and we get technology and things like that, there's really no reason why we couldn't do and see how that data really contributes to a better game, a safer game, or does it take away from the game?
Absolutely.
So, speaking of physicality and wanting to stir things up a little bit, why don't we kick over to the NFL and talk about some of the fun stuff that happened? And Brian, you and I can finish out the show talking about the Packers and the Cowboys. But Brett, you said you were a Chicago Bears fan, yes?
Yeah, that means I'm not a bandwagon, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I feel
and my first year I was a little kid. My first NFL year was the Monsters of the Midway, and with all those characters, and let me say it took. And that cheap shot that your Packers guy did back to McMahon that cost us that second Super Bowl. I cannot believe that Bears team back then. I'm surprised he wasn't wheeled out of that stadium that day. I haven't forgotten that shit. I was like 7 years old and I still remember it.
Wow.
So I really can't say anything politically correct really about anything, but especially about a Green Bay Packer North, any of their fans.
You can take all the shots you want. It is called the Lombardi Trophy, though.
Yeah, and there's a reason for it. One franchise knows what they're doing, and the other one just
is in Chicago.
And that is exactly right.
It's okay. Justin Fields. What's the future for Justin Fields? Are we keeping him? Are we letting him go? What are we doing?
Bye.
Wow.
That was quick.
Well, I mean, have you watched him this year?
Look.
Or have you watched him any of the previous years?
Well, absolutely. And I've also seen his completion percentage, even as low as it is. I watch that too.
Yeah.
He's a fantastic athlete. I think it would behoove the Braves, the Bears, to try to get as much for him as they could, considering they need to go after Caleb Williams. We still need a receiver. Somebody would definitely look at the injury situation with the NFL this year, although they try to wrap their quarterbacks in bubble wrap once again. Let me add that. Look at the injury situation with the starting quarterbacks in the NFL this year. Somebody would definitely give Chicago something worth that try. I just don't see. Do y'all really see a higher ceiling for Fields? I mean, the Chicago Bears hadn't had but maybe two decent quarterbacks in my lifetime, but I don't see Fields ever being a quote unquote playoff quarterback.
I don't, man. I agree with you.
I think it depends on the system, right? Fields is not necessarily that bad. It'd be like saying Jordan Love is horrible. I mean, he's not horrible. He's not great. But could it be the system?
I would take that trade.
Oh yeah, of course you would. You'd be benefiting from it.
Would you? I said, would you take it, Jay?
No, God, no. But that's also because.
But yes, he expects me to keep Justin Fields.
Well, no, I expect a team that can utilize his strengths to take him. He, to me, is more of a mobile running quarterback than he is a throwing quarterback. He's more like a Michael Vick or maybe like an RG3. So you need to put him in an offense where they're going to utilize that. Chicago doesn't do that much. Usually when he's scrambling, it's because the pocket's broken down and he's got nowhere else to go.
He's running for his life, which is every other play. Yeah.
Right. So you need to take advantage of those strengths and design that into the game plays. That way you open up those receivers more. When you know the quarterback is going to scramble, you're going to cheat your defensive backs up a little bit more to keep an eye on them and try and keep them contained, which frees up your receivers downfield, even 10, 15 yards out. And I know he can make the 10, 15-yard passes. I mean, Kyler Murray can make those, and he needs a ladder just to even get on the field. So if
I've seen quite a few 10 and 15-yard passes that I could have thrown better left-handed. I'm just saying.
And you're not wrong, but
I don't
was he
get
on the
paid
roll?
$2, $3, $4, $5, $10 million to play football, but he does, and I've seen a lot of his 10 and 15-yard passes, and they're shit. Excuse my language.
He's had a little bit of an injury plagued career, hasn't he?
Ed just said he's not durable enough to be a scrambling quarterback in the NFL.
Well, like Jay said, I mean, he does run for his life every other play. So, I mean, we would all be injured with that offensive line.
Yeah.
True. When you can drive a bus through your offensive line, that ain't good.
No.
So I do think somebody could benefit from Fields in the right system. I don't think Chicago's the right system. I think Chicago should try and bench him this weekend and keep him as healthy as possible so they can get the highest trade value that they can and go after one of these first round quarterbacks and maybe trade Fields off for a receiver or two, maybe a mid-level receiver.
Because who do y'all have for a backup? Do y'all have any are they just the old veterans, or do y'all have any like young cats in the
we've got the young kid. What's his name, Jay? I know you know the I can't remember. We don't have anything.
I honestly don't remember, so I'm not going to be of any help in this time.
Yeah, we don't have anything. We don't have anything.
Right. So let's trade Fields. Let's get something for him and get you guys some receiver help. Maybe beef up that offensive line in the draft. Get yourself a pretty solid quarterback and start making waves this next year. Right. I would purposefully. I mean, if it were me, if I were Chicago, I would purposefully tank this game just to try and get as good a draft pick position as I possibly could.
The story of my life with the Bears, that they wait until they're eliminated from the playoffs and then they win 5 out of their last 6. I mean, they do this 2 out of 3 years. They've done it my whole life.
Yeah. Is it
it's like, what the hell are you doing? You're hurting your draft stock. What are you doing? We're not going anywhere. I don't know.
I think your backup is some guy, isn't it? Tyson something. Does that sound familiar? He's
that's a rookie. Oh yeah.
Ed, the Vikings fan, wants to trade you for Dobbs, straight up.
Now I wouldn't take it that far. Now I'm not high on Fields, but I'm not that low either.
Dang. Brutal. Okay, Brahma Babe.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your Jacksonville Jaguars.
Oh, cardiac cats.
Yeah.
They never do anything easy. Never. And I've been there since 93, and people are like, 93, your team didn't play till 95. That's correct. We were awarded the team in 1993. So I'm waiting to see if Trevor goes in this week. We have the Titans coming up. People are like, oh, well, that's a no-brainer. But first of all, it's my Jags. And don't know which Jag's going to show up. Secondly, we have a history with the Titans. I mean, that is just a rivalry. We don't like them. They don't like us. And there's been plenty of games where we should have won, but we don't because it's just, I don't know what it is. But I'm hoping Trevor will come back. We'll see. Our backup did pretty well, as everybody calls him, Pete Hart. It's not his name, but he stepped it up. We have a lot of injuries. Jamal Agnew just went out, which that really sucks. He has I think it was a broken or fractured leg, and he's a return guy, so it's I don't know. I don't know if Cam Robinson's going to be back. I mean, we've got a lot of injuries. I don't know if Zay's going to be back. I personally think Trevor came back too soon when he came back to the Cleveland game. I think they should have sat him on the bench and let him get his faculties. I don't think he's been the same since the Cincinnati game.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I'm not giving up hope though, because who would have thought last year we would have gone into the playoffs and came back in a 27-0 deficit and come back with Trevor throwing 4, interceptions and then come back and beat the Chargers. So as a Jags fan, you just never know. But I'm there because it's Duval.
There you go. Playoff chances. What are you thinking?
Well, from my understanding, we would clinch depending on what the Texans, and I think the Texans and the Colts play this weekend, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I know that if it came down to the Jags with the Colts, we would win the tiebreaker because we beat them twice this season. However, with the Texans, we've won one, they've won one. If we beat the Titans and the Colts were to win, obviously we've clinched the South. I'm going to be a homer. Sorry, I am.
Be a homer.
I'm going to be a homer and say they're going to show up, and they're going to show up well this weekend. Do you guys know? Because I honestly don't know how that would tiebreak if the Texans end up winning out. We went out this weekend against you guys know?
So right now, if you win, you're in.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you win a game, you're division champ. You're in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
If you lose, I think it's something like if Pittsburgh loses and whoever like Miami loses or something weird, like Pittsburgh has to lose and somebody else has to lose. I think maybe Tennessee, y'all would be in.
Okay.
So it's kind of a weird. I was watching; they were going through all the scenarios. I don't remember them all, but win and you're in. That's the easiest thing. So
I mean,
do your job. You don't have to worry about all the other stuff.
We shouldn't be in this position to begin with, in all honesty, because there are games we should not have lost. There are games that I honestly can think of 2 that we just didn't play and we're out. But yeah, I feel like, the division in itself kind of went down the pooper later in the game, or later in the season. But I just, I hope they come out well, and I think we can do it. I think they really can. I mean, we've got a team. We just, for whatever reason, those injuries. And our O-line has got to protect Trevor if he's in. They cannot, and it just depends. Are we going to have a run game or are we going to have a passing game?
Yeah. Okay, folks, we're gonna let you guys go here so Brian and I can wrap up the show and talk trash about each other. But Brett, shout out for your socials. How can people find you?
The United Football League fans. That's the spring football group. It was originally AAF back in the day. Then we changed it to XFL and USFL fans. But now it's United Football League fans. Also check out our podcast, me and Daddy Ed. We've got the bottom line that we've been trying to get going a few weeks ago. Usually have that on Mondays. I haven't been around for a while, been sick, and then some family stuff came up. But shout out to Daddy Ed, Amanda, Dirty, Arlington. You know the crew.
Yep.
Definitely.
Those are my peeps.
Yes, sir. Brahma Babe, give a shout out for your social media stuff.
Okay. You guys can find me on Insta at Brahma Babe. You can find me on Facebook, of course, with Brahma Babe. On X, you can find me at SA_Babe Brahma. And I'm also a new contributor for the Alternate Football Network. So you'll be seeing some of my written content hopefully this season. Maybe a little bit of here and there at the games. And who knows what else.
Awesome.
Very cool.
Guys, thank you so much for joining us. Looking forward to having you guys on the show again later.
Giddy up. Three-peat.
Horns forward, baby. Horns forward. Love you guys. See ya.
Coming on, guys.
See ya.
And uno mas. Boom. Okay, Brian, it's just you and me, buddy.
All right.
Okay, let's talk about the Dallas game. And I've got to ask you, Brian, why are you bending the rules? Why are you guys cheating? Why are the Cowboys fans allowing the travesty that happened? You guys know you stole that game.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, 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 yeah,
100% know
yeah,
you
yeah.
stole the game.
Oh, of course, of course. You know, you didn't see Jerry walk over and hand the ref some cash right before he threw that flag.
A huge sack of money.
A
Huge
huge
sack.
sack of money, dude.
How are you not going to hear an offensive lineman say, "I'm going to catch the ball"? I mean, come on.
So here's why the ref didn't hear it, because Detroit wanted to be sneaky and throw three offensive linemen at the ref at a time and have one of them say, "I'm going to catch the ball," and the Cowboys are like, "Oh, which one is going to catch it? Which one's eligible?" And the ref was like, "I got three big boys coming at me. Which one's saying he's going to catch it?" And the ref looked at the one who'd been eligible three times already that game and was like, "I think you're the one that said it. Number 70, you're eligible." He said, "Okay, Cowboys defense, number 70 is eligible." And you know what Detroit did not do? Said, "Oh, hey, hold on. That's not what we said. That's not what we said. We said number 68 is going to be eligible, not number 70. Nope." They went and ran the play. And guess what? Number 68 caught the ball. So, hey,
Brian, you're not wrong. I mean, of course, I'm going to stir the pot.
yeah,
But truth be told, like that's the whole purpose of a lineman declaring eligibility is so that the ref knows who is going to be who's out there to be able to catch the ball, because not every offensive lineman can go and catch the ball. That's just the name of the game.
But
Okay.
as the offensive lineman, you have to make sure that the ref recognizes that you are the one, especially if you're going to try and be sneaky and run three offensive linemen at the ref at the same time. Make sure the ref acknowledges you as the one who said, "I'm eligible."
Yes.
So the ref was looking down. He heard, I'm eligible," and looked up and saw the guy who had come in like two or three times earlier that game. So that's the job of the offensive lineman to say, "No, not him, me. It's a different guy this time." And then when you hear it, tell the defense, "Hey, 70's eligible." No, that's incorrect, because
Yep.
the play clock hadn't stopped yet. It's not like there was a time crunch. Obviously, the game clock wasn't running because it was an extra point. The play clock hadn't started yet. It was off of a timeout, so
Mhm.
they hadn't huddled yet. So there was no time limits of why they couldn't correct the refs and say, "No, that's not correct." So
Right.
now there was no announcement over the speakers. Um, so that was because, once again, I was at the game and I went back and watched and listened. There was no I didn't hear it there, and on the watch back, the official never announced it that 70 was eligible, but
Right.
he did tell the defense.
Right. Well,
So,
it's hard because obviously, the stadium announcer is going to be calling based on what they're seeing and what they're hearing. And if you've got three different guys walking up and you just hear one voice saying, "I'm eligible," that's
yeah,
going to cause confusion. It was supposed to be designed as a trick play. It obviously did not work. And that's, I mean, I love you, Detroit, but that's what you get for trying to be sneaky.
he
Okay.
he was trying. They were trying to confuse the Cowboys. They ended up confusing the refs. And you know what? It shouldn't have come to that, because Dan Campbell, I mean, hey, wants to be a riverboat gambler. You know, there were, I believe, two times they were within the 15-yard line, and he decided to go for it on fourth down. Should have kicked field goals.
Yep.
That time, three separate opportunities. He could have just gone for one to tie the game, but he had to go for two. You know, there's there's being aggressive, and there's being a little overly aggressive, and he was, that's kind of what he's hung his hat on, and it works sometimes, but at some point you just gotta take the points that you're given.
Yep.
So
26-38, 345, two touchdowns, one interception. You were at the game. How did it look?
from Dak,
Yep. Better?
it looks a little inflated because one of those passes was a 92-yard scramble play where a defender fell down. to CD. So I mean, obviously your stats are going to look good for that. He threw his first pick ever against the Lions. Um,
Well,
so
no,
on the first drive of the game, which is an absolutely horrible throw.
yep.
Um,
But everybody gets some love from Dak.
you know, he didn't have a bad game though. Um, maybe some passes that he wanted to have back. I think there were some real stupid play calls towards the end of the game. Obviously, McCarthy's uh, does some McCarthyisms, trying to run the clock out, and he decides to throw a 30-yard pass down the field. Like, come on, dude. Hey, throw a short 5-10 yarder is fine, but why the hell are you gonna toss a bomb like when you're trying to run the clock out? Which saved Detroit a timeout, which if they would have had to burn that timeout, probably wouldn't have scored in the first place.
Yep.
So there would have been about 40 seconds less on the clock. So
Speaking of burning time, Green Bay didn't really waste much time in this game, although it seems like they tried. Because you've got a field goal and then an interception that was picked off by Green Bay that was turned into a touchdown. And then just, basic Green Bay being Green Bay, right? I don't want to say they played conservatively. That fourth quarter looked really bad. I mean, they walked away with 3 points, right? I'm very surprised at Green Bay's defense that they were actually able to stop Minnesota because it's not like Minnesota's quarterback is necessarily horrible. That's Nick Mullins. Went 13 to 22 for 113 yards, and then Jaron Hall
he's
was.
like their 18th quarterback this year, though.
He is, but he was technically their second string quarterback who went out because of an injury. I believe it was a concussion.
Had a start, then he got a concussion, and then
Then they went to no eyebrows.
Yep.
And then they went to their fourth stringer, and then they went back to this cat. So
I think they're bringing somebody else in next week, aren't they?
I think it's a beer vendor or something. I'm not sure.
Probably. I don't know. Didn't you get a call for it?
No. They would not want me in there because I would purposefully try and burn them all day long. Be like, oh,
you probably couldn't do worse than the quarterbacks that are trying to help them.
That's true. That's true. No, I would be purposefully like, oh, defensive lineman, here, have the ball. Go ahead. Just go ahead.
Take it. Yep. Don't hurt me.
Yep. I wouldn't even care about that. I just wouldn't want to see Minnesota lose by triple digits. That's that NFC North rivalry, man. But so yeah, we've got some big games coming up this next weekend. Where is my week 17 schedule? Again, the Green Bay game was not necessarily that exciting at all. I'm surprised the score wasn't higher because Green Bay defense, but for whatever reason, they were able to put enough pressure on Minnesota and keep them out of the end zone long enough for Jordan Love to rack up, a couple of touchdowns.
He had a decent game. Honestly, I fell asleep during the game. Like I said I was sick.
It was boring. It was boring as hell. I ain't gonna lie. Okay. Minnesota is playing Detroit. Okay. That doesn't necessarily matter, but again, this is an NFC North game, right? It's going to be a rivalry game. So Minnesota is going to try and play as hard as they possibly can, potentially mix up the standings a little bit, right? Because right now, Detroit is in at the number 3 spot. They could swap with Philly, potentially. Maybe move down to the number 4 spot or something.
No, Philly's going to be Cowboys. If Cowboys win, Cowboys are in the number 2 spot,
right?
And if that happens, Philly's going to be at number 5.
Oh no, you know what? Yeah, even if they lose, it's not going to affect anything because they're
Lions have already won the division, so they're going to be. Lions can be 2 if the Cowboys or if the Cowboys or Eagles.
What's up, 210 Brahmasita?
Hey, what's up, Jackie? So now the only one who's going to make it is the NFC South. Currently, the Bucks are leading, but still the Saints,
Hmm.
and I think a small chance of the Falcons. I mean, your Packers basically, you guys win and y'all are in.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And we're playing a busted up Chicago Bears team. And like we talked about earlier, right? If the coaches are smart, they're going to sit Fields and try and keep him safe so they can, potentially trade him off for, maybe a third round draft pick or maybe a receiver,
yeah.
something, get something out of it. Because again, I think Fields in the right system is a much better quarterback. Is he a top 10? No, but he could be a top 15. I can see that. I can see him being about in the middle of the pack in the right system. Yeah. Or if
I,
nothing else, he'd be
I
a
could
good
see
backup.
15, I could see 15-ish.
Yeah. He could be a good backup. I mean,
Yeah.
worse things have happened. Dallas is going to be playing Washington Commanders, so that's pretty much a given, right? I don't mean to bash on our friends over at Washington, but their season is 4-12, and they're playing a division rival. It ain't gonna matter. Okay.
But just like what Brahma Babe said, and the way it is with all these NFL divisions, Commanders would love nothing more than to like piss in the Cowboys bowl of Cheerios.
Yeah.
Just absolutely ruin their chance for a division title.
So
So
let me ask you this: if Detroit wins and the Cowboys lose, could they potentially switch spots?
so if the Cowboys lose and Philly wins, then Philly wins the division. And then I'm not sure of the tiebreaker between the Phillies and the Lions. I'm sure they played each other. I think Philly won. So yeah, Philly won. So Philly would
Would
get
move
that.
up, right? They would move up to 2.
So Philly would be 2. So I think Lions are pretty much well.
They're probably locked in at 3 then. So that would mean basically Cowboys and Eagles would switch.
You know what? If the Cowboys and Eagles both lose and the Lions win, then the Lions would move up to 2.
Yeah.
So
Okay. So again, it's an important game. Dallas definitely needs to win to keep that
yeah,
pressure on Philly and stay in the number 2
and, I
spot.
mean, really, Cowboys need to win to get that second seed to
Mhm.
have at least 2 home games
Yeah.
because undefeated at home and on the road.
Mhm.
So
And so LA is playing 49ers at home. Uh could be a little mix up there, right? Could be a shocker.
both those teams are guaranteed a spot. 49ers are guaranteed the number 1 spot. They I could see maybe the starters playing a series or 2 just to kind of get some game reps and then sitting them. The Rams, they've got nowhere to go really up or down. So
Right. Yeah, I mean they're pretty much safe where they're at.
yeah,
Bills and Dolphins, that's going to be an interesting game.
that's going to be an interesting one. Yeah, if the Bills end up winning, then they're gonna win that division.
Yep.
And
And
I
then
mean, as crappy as the Bills looked earlier this season, that's a hell of a chance for them
yep.
to actually be able to pull that off.
And then you have the Saints and the Falcons fighting out also this weekend, right?
Yeah.
So
Who is so currently the Bucks are the current leaders of the division. Who are they playing?
the Bucks are actually going to be playing the Panthers, the 2-14 Panthers. So
Okay.
I mean the Panthers have 2 wins, it could be 3.
So the
But
Bucks will probably keep that. So they'll end up in the 4 seed as the division winner.
yeah.
Because NFL division winners, you're guaranteed a home game, even if you have a losing record.
Even if you're the Buccaneers.
Yeah, but
So again, some interesting games to keep an eye on. I love this time of year, especially the way things are going right now with all these teams that are still in the mix, still competing for a spot up until the very last week. And everybody's going to be watching. All eyes are going to be on the NFL, trying to figure out who's in, who's out, where people are playing, who's going to be playing Dallas at home, all that good stuff. Now, if the Packers do get in, I've got a bad feeling that Green Bay is going to be coming to Dallas, and then that's going to be the end of the season. If that's the case, we may have to take a little road trip and go catch that game. Just because, I mean, I'm gonna take the abuse. I'm gonna deal with the fans yelling at me and all that stuff, and that's fine.
No, that's fine.
But I'm still gonna go rep my team, even if they get slaughtered, which they probably will.
That's all right.
But we'll see.
You know
We have
what?
to wait
You
and
know what?
see.
It'd be nice to pay Green Bay some playoff payback. So
Yeah, it was still a catch, Brian.
it was a catch. Oh, it was absolutely a damn catch.
It was a catch, whether you like it or not. That's a little shout out to Coach Tom Walker, who said it was not a catch and still can't get over that. But so yes, all eyes on NFL this weekend, right? Be prepared though. I believe it's the 5th. There's going to be the first round of drafts for the UFL coming out, and
Yep.
this will be the player allocation draft. All the players that didn't stay on a team, basically a team that got eliminated. Those players are now going to be available to the league for drafting purposes, and then there will be another supplemental draft after that. Also, our event on September, our event on January 13th. Make sure you swing by our Facebook page, Texans Talking Football. Check out the details there. We'll be there. Horns Forward Podcast will be there. Shout out to Jackie and Jorge and DJ. Lots going on, guys. Lots going on. So make sure you keep your eyes peeled on the old interwebs there. And Brian, you got anything else before we check out? Oh yeah, by the way, new intro, new year, right?
Right. That's right. Fancy. Well done. I liked it, Jay. Very good job.
It was all right. But we have new outro too. So, Brian, you got anything else?
What's that outro look like, Jay?
Oh, Horns Forward looks just like this.